G'day guys, I hope you're all well and not suffering too much through this lockdown. So I hope all of your families are doing okay. Nobody's getting cabin fever, and yeah, you're just all staying safe. Anyway, that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose is to try and entertain you. So Monkey Boy will carry on. First of all, wristwatch check. I'm wearing my G-Shock 5600. Beautiful proportions on the wrist. It's not one of those G-Shocks that's really big. Just a fantastic everyday utilitarian watch that you can just do whatever the hell you want with. Today's topic I wanted to talk about was watches that have been worn in space, and particularly where I have landed, no pun intended, on this particular topic. Now it's probably going to be a little bit contentious for some people that own Speedmasters. But again, as my dad says, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. So I'll share mine, and please feel free to, either disparage me or give me a solid reasoning why you don't agree with my stance in the comment section below. But I've owned a couple of Amiga Speedmasters. In fact, I've owned three. I owned a mid-size automatic, but actually, I won't count that. The professional model, I've owned two of them. And I love them. I thought they were fantastic watches. I was really taken in by the fact that they'd been worn on the moon, and it was the only watch worn on the moon. And I looked at the case backs and I was like, this is cool. And I've shown my kids and gone, do you know that a watch like this went onto the moon? And the kids are like, oh yeah, great, thanks, shut up Dad, we're not interested. But so there was that aspect to the Speedmaster. Now, that particular watch has seen a massive increase in price over the past few years. I remember looking back in around sort of 2008, and I think you could pick one up for about 1,800 second hand, and maybe 2,500, 3,000 Australian new. Now I think you're looking at maybe, depending on the watch that you want, obviously if you just want the original Castlite, I think you're looking at maybe 7.5 and maybe 8 something for the Sapphire Sandwich, which is the other version that I owned, with the display back and the movement that was finished a little bit better. I had to sell the first professional because we were having kids and needed the cash basically, so sold that watch. Then on my 40th a few years ago, my wife gave me the green light to go and purchase it again because I really did miss it. So this time I bought a Sapphire Sandwich, which was second hand or pre-owned for I think about $4,000, and wore it for a few days, put it away, and I didn't really put it on too much. Now, in between buying that, prior to buying that Sapphire Sandwich, I owned this watch. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, this is a Bulova Lunar Pilot chronograph. It has the 262 kilohertz movement inside. It is a ultra high frequency quartz, and for those of you that don't know, it runs at 16 hertz, which gives it somewhere in between the accuracy of plus or minus 10 seconds per year. Now, to put that into perspective, the only other quartz watch that I own is this bad boy, which is a Grand Seiko GMT quartz, which also runs at plus or minus, I think 10 seconds, per year. Now that's a thermo-compensated quartz that retails for there or thereabouts $4,500, something like that, Australian. The Bulova retails for $339 US at the last check, which was about half an hour ago, which would equate to maybe, let's call it 500 Australian. Now, going back to the space watch thing, you note that I call this the Lunar Pilot watch. A watch that is similar to this was worn by Colonel Dave Scott on one of the Apollo missions, and I believe it was, let's have a quick look, Apollo 15. I always say it's 16, but it's actually Apollo 15. Now, he did wear a version of this watch on the moon, because the crystal had popped off a Speedmaster, and he needed a timepiece while he was actually on the surface. At this point, all of the Amiga Speedmaster fanboys are going to go, yeah, but that's not the watch that you've worn, that was an automatic and blah, blah, blah. You know what, guys? Exactly the same with the Speedmaster. The current version of the Amiga Speedmaster does not contain the same movement that was in the original Speedmaster. This is a quartz movement in the Bulova, and it was automatic that was in the Bulova, in the original Bulova that went on the moon. I appreciate that, yes, they're both manual winding movements in the Speedmaster, and they're very, very similar, but they aren't the same type of movement. So neither of them are, the current day versions are the exact same as the ones that were on the moon. So, you know, that needs to be accepted by both parties, I think. For me personally, I decided to get rid of my Sapphire Sandwich because I'd had it for maybe 3 years, and it had been owned by its previous owner for a couple of years prior to that, and I just thought, you know what, I don't want to get stuck with this thing for servicing. Quite frankly, I just don't think there's enough people in Australia, or actually overseas for that matter, that can service watches and get them back to you in a reasonable time frame and have done a good job, and at a reasonable price. I don't know what the service cost is for an Amiga Speedmaster through official channels, but I know, you know, through just a regular watchmaker, you're looking at maybe a 2-3 month wait and maybe something upwards of $500 to get it serviced, which for most people is probably the amount that they would spend on a regular watch, not just a service. Again, looking at the Lunar Pilot, yes, it's a quartz watch, but it is an ultra high frequency quality quartz movement. All it requires is a battery and maybe a little bit of a dust up with a polishing brush every so often. It's not going to give me the service hassles that a Speedmaster will give me over time. Granted, it's not a luxury timepiece, but I beg to differ. If I put this on the wrist and from 20 yards, somebody doesn't go, oh, the guy's wearing a Speedy. They're very, very similar watches. Quite frankly, this for the cost, I truly believe is absolutely 500% more value for money than a Speedmaster. I mean, again, you look at it, it's let's call it $700, all right, which it isn't. But let's just say it costs $700. It's a tenth, or less than a tenth of the price of what a new Speedmaster would cost. Quite frankly, if you look hard enough and you do a purchase around Black Friday, you could probably buy this and the PVD black version for $700 all up. But like I say, that Bulova for me is my perfect moon watch. That's for me enough history and lineage to say, you know what, I don't need the Speedmaster anymore. And that's really the conclusion that I came to. It's just like, service cost, far too much. This, for me, is the hassle-free alternative that gives me that Speedmaster look and feel, but just without any hassles. So guys, well, that's it, my rant over. Just wanted to get my point across, and I'd love to hear, what people's opinions are, especially from people who own Speedmasters. Like I say, I do love them. I'm not hating on them at all. I just think that, I just don't like the fact that Amiga have made out as though the moon watch is the only watch that's ever been on the moon. I appreciate it's the only one that's certified and so on and so forth, but nowadays astronauts have the ability to take up a variety of different watches, and a variety of different watches have been up there. But like I say, only one other one has been on the moon, and it was this one, and it costs you less than a tenth of the price of the Speedmaster. There's something not right there. Anyway, guys, I wish you all the best of health. Please stay safe, stay indoors if you can, stay calm, and wear your watches in the best of health. Much love. Take care. Bye.